What if I told you history's most prolific female serial killer wasn't from some crime documentary, but from the dark castles of 16th century Hungary? Her name was Elizabeth Báthory, a noblewoman, a countess, and the woman later called the Blood Countess. She didn't just kill her victims, she allegedly bathed in their blood, convinced it would preserve her youth and beauty. And the deeper you go into her story, the more it sounds like a horror movie that actually happened. This is the tale of vanity, power, and madness, so terrifying it still echoes through folklore today. Elizabeth Báthory was born in 1560 into one of the most powerful families in Hungary. Her bloodline connected her to kings, princes, and generals. She was rich, educated, and privileged. But power comes with shadows. As a child, Elizabeth was said to have witnessed brutal punishments carried out on the family estates, beatings, mutilations, executions. Some historians even claim she learned early that violence wasn't shocking, it was normal. She was also prone to sudden fits of rage and violent outbursts. Yet on the surface, she was a brilliant aristocrat. She spoke several languages, managed vast estates, and commanded respect. At 15, she married Count Ferenc Nadasdy, a warrior known as the Black Knight of Hungary. While he fought the Ottomans on the battlefield, Elizabeth stayed behind in her castle, where rumors of her cruelty began to spread. At first, it seemed like small acts of discipline. Servants who disobeyed were slapped, pinched, beaten. But over time, witnesses described something darker, something sadistic. Elizabeth allegedly delighted in torturing young girls. She poked them with needles, burned them with hot irons, and even bit chunks of flesh from their bodies. But why stop there? Legend says Elizabeth became obsessed with the idea that blood was the secret to eternal youth. After striking one of her maids in anger and seeing blood on her skin, she thought it made her hand look younger. From then on, the cruelty escalated into ritual. She began bathing in blood, sometimes of servants, sometimes of peasant girls lured to the castle with promises of work. Imagine the scene. The flicker of torches in the cold stone chamber, the cries of the victims echoing against the walls, while the Countess stepped into a crimson bath, convinced she was washing away time itself. How many victims? That's the chilling question. Some accounts suggest dozens, others claim hundreds. One servant's testimony put the number at 650 girls. That would make Elizabeth Báthory the most prolific female serial killer in recorded history. But the scale wasn't the only thing that shocked contemporaries. It was the methods. Victims were locked in cages, lined with spikes, left to freeze outside in the snow, or smeared with honey and left for insects to devour. And here's the darkest part. All of this happened not in secret dungeons, but in a noblewoman's household, with her servants often forced to participate. It was horror disguised as aristocracy. For years, Elizabeth's power and family name shielded her. Who would dare accuse a countess of mass murder? But whispers grew too loud to ignore. Peasant families complained about missing daughters. Priests noticed strange deaths around her estate. Finally, in 1610, King Matthias of Hungary ordered an investigation. When officials raided Báthory's castle, what they found was like stepping into a nightmare. Mutilated corpses, dying girls chained to the walls, and blood-stained torture devices. It was enough to terrify even hardened soldiers. Elizabeth's accomplices, loyal servants, confessed under torture, describing the gruesome rituals in chilling detail. But here's the twist in the story. Historians still debate how much of the story is true. Was Elizabeth really a vampire, a countess who bathed in blood? Or was she a victim of political enemies who exaggerated her cruelty to steal her lands? Some records suggest the church and crown owed her family money, and destroying her reputation was the perfect way to wipe the debt clean. Still,
Even the most cautious historians agree. Dozens of bodies were found. Torture was undeniable. Whether she killed 30 girls or 600, Elizabeth Báthory's legacy as a sadistic noblewoman has haunted Europe for centuries. And so Elizabeth Báthory became something more than a historical figure. She became a myth, part Dracula, part horror icon. The Blood Countess, locked forever in her tower, obsessed with eternal youth, serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters don't come from folklore, they come from history. If this story of power, cruelty, and blood sends shivers down your spine, just wait, because history is filled with tales even darker than this one. Hit subscribe and join me for the next nightmare from the past.